Hey everyone, and welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 302, recorded on November 5th, 2024. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about lots of different news stories that's been happening recently, like Nintendo launching a brand new app, a little popular game called Xenoblade Chronicles X coming, and as well as Eastasiasoft recent showcase, the recent premium edition fall direct, and some other interesting news about limited run. But before we jump into all of that, probably should introduce ourselves. My name is Steve, and of course, I'm joined by Barry and Greg. Barry, how's it been going over the last couple of weeks?
For the most part, okay. It hasn't been always the best, but I've been busy and just taking it one day at a time.
Yeah. Greg, how you doing?
I guess pretty much equally busy. There's been a lot of stuff going on at the new house here and other things going on in our lives as well. So, yeah, I did get some good time in for games at least that we'll be talking more about in a little bit.
Nice. Yeah, I've been also busy. In fact, most of the stuff tonight, I'm thankful that Barry and Greg find some time to do some research and fill out our show for us, because I know nothing about what has been going on in the video game world over the last couple of weeks. Just been other things just taking priority, which happens sometimes, especially when we step into our adult years, which I think none of us can really deny anymore at this point in our lives. We are full-fledged adults, but yeah, it's sad because I remember the days where we could just play video games and read about video game news and talk about video games all the time. And yeah, it doesn't happen nearly as much as I'd want it to over the last few weeks. But thank you guys for joining us in the chat. We got Tired Gaming Dad and Jakester, who has already said hey in there. So if you guys are joining us in the live chat, whether it be on YouTube or on Twitch, be sure to hop in there and say hello. And yeah, if you've never joined us live, we go live every other Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. We'd love to have you jump in the chat and join us. Also, as well as if you haven't followed us on social media, just be sure to do that. At NintendoFuse be a great way to stay in contact with us, as well as our Discord community. You can find the link on the video version on YouTube and Twitch right now. But also in our show notes or the YouTube description. We would love for you guys to jump in and join our Discord as well. Join that growing community that we have over there. So let's jump in, as always, to the games we have been playing, and we'll go to you first, Greg.
I think when I was counting on the list, it looks like I beat you by one title overall. So look at that.
I'm surprised I got any gaming in the last couple weeks.
All right, just to kick things off, I did a few more rounds of Super Mario Party Jamboree. So yeah, I did find that there is that motion setting that unfortunately still defaults to on for every time you want to play a map. So I did play a few more boards, and just had a lot of fun going around and seeing like how the new boards interact. I thought they were supposed to be retro boards, but I don't even have any idea where those are because they're not listed with the other. Oh, well, that's kind of stupid. But I mean, normally, like all the Mario Party stuff is like a fully like unlocked. Like it,
Nope.
Yeah.
There's like a character or two, and that's like it. Like you don't have to unlock actual content to play.
There's
Right.
3 boards to unlock.
Gotta play the game to unlock it, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I've already played 3 rounds. Jeez, what was still requirements? Complete on extra hard, and
You have to
Let the
you have to
CPUs
Gotta
get
get
single
100% completion on Mario
you have
Kart.
to get
or
10
Mario Party.
achievements to get one map, 20 for the second, and 30 for the final. So 30 achievements to get them all.
I think I'm only right around like 7 or 9 of them, but
I'm at
hopefully
0.
they'll be. I guess Steve hasn't been playing that one though. But all right, time for a few quick ones. I was playing Sam & Max Save the World. We'll be doing a game chat on that. Also doing Fart Mania, another game chat upcoming there too, along with Earth Defense Force World Brothers 2 is our final game chat one that will be upcoming in the very near future here. But I did get some chance to play Epic Mickey Rebrushed, so like my wife was kind of interested to kind of see what that's about because she saw it was downloaded on my Switch when we were like before we played Mario Party Jamboree, and so then I was kind of showing her like the first like intro world or whatever, and had a little bit of fun just kind of taking down like the first boss and kind of just reliving the memories of playing the game. So um, so far it's been a blast. Found a number of the extra side pins or whatever that you find on the side, and completed just about most of the quests that I've come across. But apparently I did fail one of them. I don't know how that happens, but I guess it's not very good at telling you that you're not going to be able to complete quests if you move on to other areas. Because I did see that later on, but then I was like, oh, well, I don't see any other quests, and then it didn't say I had any other failed ones, so I don't understand why I failed one without telling me the first time. But then when I hadn't failed any, then it said like, oh, you're missing some quests. So whatever. I'm not doing a 100% run this time around anyway, so it was just kind of fun just replaying the game in general, and really like the upgraded graphics. It looks a lot better in HD than on the Wii's 480i or whatever it was. But yeah, then I had normal mobile games, Simpsons Tapped Out, some Roblox game with my daughter, along with the Pixel RPG, and wrapped up the first event and had completed the highest ranking. So I'll be in the top of the leaderboards on the first event.
Nice. Looks like Jakester has, let's see, he's been finished up story of Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher, though still haven't unlocked every monster. Did the Halloween event for Pokemon Sleep and did more Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, getting close to the end. Nice. I need to get back to Echoes of Wisdom myself. Barry, what have you been playing?
Yeah, so I've been doing a couple things, a lot of games that we'll be talking about later in game chat. But on the Switch, still doing Pokemon Unite and Star Wars Hunters is like the daily stuff. I did go back to Super Mario Party Jamboree. I got the 50 achievements needed for everything there, and I did the entire single player campaign and got everything unlocked, and played a couple more rounds of it. But now it's regulated to the party section now, where friends come over, or my wife wants to play, and but I had fun with it. It was a lot of a lot of good times, and definitely interesting. The single player campaign this time, it was quick, but it was enjoyable. Then I played some of a game called Stitch, which is a game from an indie world. It's like a cross stitching game. It's a puzzle game. It was on sale. Still no physical, but I wound up getting it on sale, and I messed around with it, and it was kind of nice and relaxing for a bit. It definitely, a few puzzles at a time. Then for game chats, I did do Tales from the Arcade, Fart Mania, and then Dungeons 4, which is one that we'll be doing later on, and Vampire Survivors. I've been playing some Vampire Survivors, which will be another future game chat. But I will say, just as a spoiler, I do still think Scarlet Tower is better, but I can see the appeal of Vampire Survivors. There's a lot to it, and I've slowly been unlocking maps, but it very grind heavy, and my wife absolutely hates the game, and every time she sees it, she just starts bad mouthing it. She finds it very boring. So take that for what you will. On the PS5 scene, last time I was almost done with Metaphor Re Fantasio, and I did finish it. What a game. That is just a really, really good RPG. Just it almost overstays its welcome, and there was, with the calendar system, there's a fault of it when you have everything done and you just have to waste away like 5 or 6 days just to get to the end of the game. But I did very much enjoy it, and I look forward to see where they take that series. But then I went to another one of my favorite series, Ease 10 Nordics came out, and wow, that game is fantastic. Just a truly great. You get ship sailing and ship battles and action RPG and a good story, and I was hooked. I was hooked till I finished the game, and I do recommend it. It was a lot of fun. I then did some Sonic Shadow Generations, which just came out. I did the original Sonic Generations, so I did Shadow Generations this time. It was fun. It was quick, but it also was not the best because it's 3D Sonic, and 3D Sonic and slow platforming sections is never good. And I ran into some glitches, one I actually threw on YouTube, just because it's frustrating. There are definitely frustrating parts. It took like the worst parts of Sonic 06, I think, and put it there. But I was me. Maybe other people really enjoyed it. I do recommend it, but if you know it's 3D Sonic, you're going to get the 3D Sonic jank. I did play a little bit of the original Sonic Generations, and I plan to go and do that. But I'm going to probably wait until there's a movie DLC coming out next month, with a movie level for Shadow Generations. So I figure I'll go back and do that and do the Sonic part of it. But I did have fun, and of course the music is great. So it was great to hear a lot of the old Sonic themes. Then I did Life is Strange double exposure. We're big fans of Life is Strange. I know some people, posted that they're very upset with the way that a certain character was handled, and they based that off of one line and not the rest of the game. And that really sucks because I saw that before I played, and then that line came up. I said, okay, this is a legit line. Okay. But then I played the rest of the game, and I'm like, oh, they handled it better, but they were also handled an impossible situation. I'm trying to skirt around this without spoiling it. But
Yeah.
Life is Strange 1 ends with an impossible question, and many people chose A and many people chose B. And when you're going to follow up that way, it's really hard. They could have done the Infamous route where Infamous 1 ended with two very distinct different endings, and they looked at the PlayStation trophies, and more people picked the good ending versus the bad ending. So Infamous 2 took the good ending as canon, which made me upset because I thought the bad ending was way better. But this game, they didn't. They let you still pick the choice, and the story does go based on which choice you did.
Hmm.
However, because the choice is so drastic and a character would not be there if you chose one option, it was impossible to write that character into a story that would be completely absent for somebody else. It's possible, but it's just really really hard to do, and an almost impossible task to do well. So I don't fault them for what they did. I like what they're setting up. There were still some mysteries that were not solved, and that was kind of bugging me. But I did have an enjoyable time. In fact, I did it in. I, don't know, I feel like I did it in two sittings or three sittings, maybe
Oh, you beat the
of
whole game?
maybe like six. Yeah, I beat it's 5 episodes, but they go quick because there's no
Hmm.
like there's like you're in a location, and then when you finish, you finish that, you move on to the next location. You're not allowed to like free roam. You're at a coffee shop, or a bar, and like you're stuck in that bar. You're doing everything in that bar until the story needs you to move somewhere else. There's hidden things, there's optional things. There's two worlds to go between, which is a really cool effect, and there's a lot of stuff that I won't spoil. But I mean, it probably took me maybe 7 hours to do, and I did
Hmm.
it in two sittings because it was like my wife was watching. It's like watching a TV show, so it was like we were binging it.
Mhm.
Very very good though. I did enjoy it. So if you're upset with the decision, that's your choice. But if you give it a shot, I think you might be pleasantly surprised. Then on the PC side, I'm still doing Final Fantasy 14. There's a big update next week with Final Fantasy 11 stuff, so I'm super stoked. And on mobile, Mario Kart Tour and the New York Time games I'm still playing, but I added a new one. Pokemon trading card game Pocket launched on the 30th, and my wife and I have been playing that, and it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. It's played for free. Um, just it just the combat, the battles. It's very quick. It's speedy. It's very intuitive. The collectible aspect is fun. So I highly recommend it. I mean, I'm just having a great time. Yeah, and I don't play the card game.
Hmm. Nice. Nice. I was gonna ask, is this the East 10 game? Is this the next like main game? Because I know sometimes they have
Oh yeah.
spin-offs and things like that too.
Oh
So
yeah.
is
No,
this
no. This
the
is the next main game,
okay?
but it's an earlier game. It
Mm.
takes place before Silsetta. So I think it's like I think it's like his third or fourth adventure. So he had just met Dogi, so Dogi's there, but he's and it's earlier on in their relationship.
Mm.
Um, so like there's no Donna, there's none of the characters from Monstrum Nox, none of those are there. And again, Ease, you don't need to know the story of everything else. Like they're standalone adventures of adult. But yeah, this one there is a demo. There is a glitch with the demo for PlayStation, and I will say this: anything you do, like so I did the metaphor demo, for example, and when I beat the metaphor demo, I played the metaphor game. And when I got my first trophy, it checked and it gave me trophies for everything I did in the demo. Ease does not do that. So I got to the middle of chapter 2 before the game came out in the demo, played the main game and got the trophy for chapter 2, but I didn't get the trophy for starting the game, beating the prologue, or beating the first chapter. So I have the trophy for beating the game, but not the trophy for starting the game, which is really really weird. I don't know why that glitch happens, but on Switch, this is obviously a moot point. But if you are interested, Ys 10 does have a demo. It lets you get halfway through chapter 3, so you get the prologue 1, 2, and 3. Good meaty section of the game you get to play for free. So give it a try, and that to save data does carry over. So it's the best kind of demo. If you like action RPGs, if you like the Wind Waker sailing, if you like the Skies of Arcadia, combat with the ship to ship, it's all action. But you get to upgrade your ship just like it's a party member, and you get the different cannons and different weapons and different hulls, and you start off sailing slower than molasses, and by the end you're just cruising through the ocean, no problem. And there's fast travel. There's fast travel is a godsend. Any island you could fast travel to. So I 100% of the map. There's little charts. It tells you where everything is. It's really very intuitive. Definitely recommend.
Nice. So as long as it's not kind of traveling by sea like Wylands, be okay.
Oh God, no. God, no. God, oh my God.
Sorry.
Don't even insult the game like that.
Let's see. Yeah, if you haven't let us know yet in the comments or the chat, please let us know what you guys have been playing as well. I've been playing Sam & Max Save the World as well, playing a little more of that to get ready for our game chat on that coming up soon. Played a little the Jackbox Survey Scramble. Played that with the Nintendo dads. Played it online. And yeah, it was fun. It's not just like a what do you call it, the Family Feud kind of thing. It's way more than just that sort of like Family Feud kind of deal. So there's a lot, like several, I think 3 different types of games that are in it. Some of them are very fast paced, where you're putting in answer after answer, which is interesting when you play online with other people, because there's delays in the stream and stuff. So I was like, it is a disadvantage for a while. So some of those could be a lot more fun in person, I feel like. But yeah, it's a fun game, as most of the Jackbox games are. Also played some Atari 50. Played through a handful of those games. Humble Bundle, I think, had a deal in there, so technically now I own it on my Switch and Steam. But I got like a bunch of the old Atari, like the remastered versions of the Atari games with it. It was like a huge bundle. You pay like $20 that it goes to some great charity, and yeah, I got like a ton of games for like $20. So I also played Yar's Revenge Remastered as well, which I don't know if I'd ever really played a whole lot of Yar's Revenge originally, but then when I played the new Yar's game, it kind of got me into it a little bit, and so that's why I went back to this Yar's Revenge Remastered. So yeah, it was fun. It's different, but it's got updated graphics. But you can also like switch back to the old graphics at any point if you want to. So it's kind of got that little mechanic in there to switch back and forth between classic stuff and remastered graphics. Played a little bit of Rocket League, not a whole lot. A little bit of Clash Royale, again, not very much at all. That game's turning into a cash grab. Like you pay to win almost anymore. It's ridiculous. And then I booted up Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, because I was like, it's been forever since I booted this up, and if I end up going down the route of buying whatever they're going to be putting out for this next, complete version or whatever, I was like, well, at least I should log in to see if I can qualify for whatever these things are that they're going to give you in the eventual thing or whatever. Or if not, I don't know. But I was just like, I'll go ahead and download it. And I walked around a little bit and checked out things, and that was about it. So I didn't play it a whole lot, but I at least re-downloaded it, booted it up, and walked around for about 5 or 10 minutes. But that's basically all I have been playing. Let's see. Anybody else in the chat? Let's see. Yeah, Israeli TV. Cool. So yeah, hop in there in our Discord.
Jesse, I mentioned in there.
And then sorry. Yeah, if you're watching or listening to our audio version, you have no idea what I'm talking about right now. I was just reading our chat and then just jumped ahead. So apologize for that. Yeah. We had someone hop in our chat on Twitch and said that he would like to jump into our Discord or add us on Discord and join our community and everything. And yeah, we'd love to have you jump over there. Also, Jesse Glenn really has me playing like wait, I missed that. New Vampire Survivors DLC is as incredible as it sounds. And then it has me playing it like it's new, way too much. So that's cool. Yeah, I'm excited to hop in there and actually play that, and hopefully we can get the DLC from those publishers pretty soon, so we can eventually cover that on a game chat. So that'd be great. Well, I think that's it for what we've been playing. So we'll jump into some headlines, and Barry's going to kick it off this time and talk about this first headline.
Yeah, so Nintendo surprised everyone. There was this rumor that there was going to be another announcement. And everyone was like, well, what's this announcement going to be? Of course, people were speculating it's the Switch 2. And Nintendo was just like, hey, how about an iOS Android music app called Nintendo Music? And it's live right now. So they just randomly shadow dropped a music app where you could listen to a bunch of music from, the latest games to a lot of older stuff too. And what's interesting is that they're actually continuously adding music to this. So it's not everything yet, but they've already had Super Mario Wonder and DKC2 music have dropped, and they've actually made posts announcing this. So probably going to see a lot of posts later on with new music. But if you love Nintendo Music and you want to have some on your phone and stream, they've got their own streaming service now for free, as long as you're an NSO member.
Nice. And the other day, we woke up to information that Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition is officially coming to the Nintendo Switch. It's announced for March of 2025. This is a game that originally launched on the Wii U, and up until Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the DLC for that, or the extra story for that, which I'm blanking on its name. Barry, bailing me out here on that. Torna. It was really the only Xenoblade game I'd really played up until Torna. So still need to finish it. Probably won't buy it on Nintendo Switch, but glad that it's hopping over there along with the rest of the Xenoblade. You can get the definitive edition in March of 2025.
So just in case you forgot, Nintendo shut down the Nintendo Network for 3DS and Wii U, but that there was a number of fans that tried to see how long they could stay connected, and the final player has just officially been confirmed to be disconnected from the service. They had like a glitch or error that kicked them out. They had Mario Kart 7 opened up, and they had a number of races past the actual deadline, but now it's like 6 or 7 months later that they're finally officially disconnected, even though they weren't able to really play any matches for, I think, several months now as well too. But that's a pretty incredible feat to be the last player to have played the Mario Kart 7 online.
And speaking of older games, the NSO N64 Mature app was updated. Two great games from the N64 era, Man and Turok 2, have been added. So if you are an NSO expansion pack member, you can go ahead and download both of these games right now. And it is noted that, or it should be noted, that both of these games also have remasters that are available on the Switch as well. So you can play the original versions right now for free. But if you like that, there's also remasters available. So it's always weird when they give us games that already have other versions on the system, but both fantastic games.
And as I alluded to earlier, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Complete is going to be releasing on December 2nd, 2024. And again, this is the paid version of the complete version. So they're shutting down the existing version pretty soon, but all the different unlockables and all these different things that we've talked about in the past are going to be added to this an additional app, this additional game that's going to be called Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Complete. I believe it's like $20 to purchase the entire game, and your data will transfer and everything over to this new version. But you can check out all the information on Animal Crossing's website. But again, that's going to be coming out on December 2nd, 2024.
Speaking of things shutting down, and this one's very unfortunate because it could be impactful for people's livelihoods. Sony announced that Firewalk is going to be the studio is going to be closed. So they began during COVID, and they expanded to a team, like a pretty sizable team. They've used the Unreal 4 and 5 engines to help do some new next generation like FPS engines for some of their games. They've managed through like acquisitions and other integrations and other things like that. So they made like a almost like a farewell tweet posted on X. So then if you want to read more into some of their other things that they're notable for, you can look into it there. But obviously, it's very unfortunate that people have lost their livelihood from this.
Yeah. Well, Barry, what do you think about all these stories?
Before we do that, there's one other headline we should discuss really
Ooh,
quickly. That's breaking news. I sent
breaking
you a link.
news.
Breaking news. This just happened 8 minutes ago. 8 minutes ago, there is a tweet from Nintendo. This is Furukawa. At today's corporate management policy briefing, we announced that the Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch Online will be available on the successor to Nintendo Switch as well. Further information about the successor to the Switch, including its compatibility with Nintendo Switch, will be announced at a later date. So there is our confirmation about backwards compatibility. We all assumed it was going to be that way, but this is now confirmation that that it is actually happening.
Wow. So this must have been on the actual Nintendo
I
one
sent
instead. Huh?
yeah, the actual Nintendo. I sent you the actual link if you want to bring that up.
Got it.
But yeah, just figured I'd throw that in there as a breaking headline because it is relevant to what we've discussed before.
Yeah.
But yeah, as for the headlines, yeah, so uh, Nintendo Music is interesting. I did download Nintendo Music. I messed around with it. It was interesting to see some of the Wii stuff come back, like the Wii Forecast music and the Wii menu music. I love it though. I love that they added stuff like this, as it should be. Like I hope they keep adding more Nintendo Music, and I hope they also don't use this as a means to go after YouTubers more that have just the music up for people to listen. Xenoblade, of course, Xenoblade. It's something I predicted for a while. I'm just happy to see it finally coming out. I love that it is. It seems to be done by the Xenoblade One Definitive Edition team, which is what I suspected. The logo's even the same, and they're adding new story elements. So again, it looks like a new side story. So definitely reason to go back to this game and play it, and I am very excited for that. And just like Xeno One, I will be replaying X and doing that new side story, and maybe they'll be connected more to the other games now, which is what they were kind of hinting towards. So that has me excited. Meanwhile, the main team is doing Xeno 4, and now that we have confirmation, it will be playable on the Switch too. So maybe it'll be upscaled. So we'll have to see. Oh, you found the tweet there.
I did. Yeah.
So yeah, as about this is something we all called that it would be
Absolutely.
really dumb if it wasn't backwards compatible and if NSO didn't go over. But now that having that confirmation, I think is reassuring for those that weren't sure about it, and also makes those Switch purchases a little sweeter because it's like, oh, I'm buying this, but I can now use it on the next system as well. So your library is secure, which is awesome to see. For the final player disconnected, Godspeed, buddy. That was awesome that you hung out as long as you did. Sucks that we have to have server shutdowns. This is why I hate digital only. Shadow Man is one of my favorite N64 games, and Turok 2 is as well. Both games are phenomenal. So if you haven't played them, I do recommend. I still think it's dumb that the mature app doesn't feature the other N64 games as well. So you can just have one app on your Switch, but no, it doesn't because Nintendo's being Nintendo. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. I downloaded it and I opened it and I created an account when New Leaf came out for the special items, but I haven't been back since. So I don't know. I did get an email about complete, like, oh, you can go over. And as for Firewalk, I mean, we discussed this last time about the changes in the industry and all these layoffs, and it's really sad. And I know a lot of people online are making fun of Firewalk and they're making fun of Concord and about the massive failure it was. And I don't understand people just harping on others and just being mean for the sake of mean. But now there's a lot of people who are talented, are now without jobs, and that sucks. And Sony bought this company. We're talking about these acquisitions. Sony bought this company, and then said, "Here you go, do the game." And now they pulled the game down and have now dismantled the studio, and that sucks. That is an
Yeah.
acquisition and then just firing. And you know, for whatever reason the game failed, it's not everybody's fault that it did, and there's a lot of innocent victims here, and there are people championing it. They're happy about this, and that disgusts me. We shouldn't
Mhm.
be celebrating people losing their jobs and their livelihood. That's
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Looks like let me get back into the chat and see that looks like Jakester's upset that I think he's that the Nintendo Music app is only NSO. You know, it kind of makes sense. I mean, like you pay for all these other streaming services. This is your way of paying for this music streaming services with your NSO subscription. So I'm not bothered by that. I'm going to have an NSO subscription. So maybe it would be nice to like buy those songs or something. Maybe you have an option to do that if you're not a subscriber. But at the same time, for me, it totally makes sense to have a subscription to pay for this service. So, Greg, what do you think about all these different news stories?
I'm definitely super happy with the app, the music app, because it's like I've already been pretty much primarily listening to that on every single ride in the car. So it's like I'm going through between different games. I haven't really played around with like creating my own like playlist. I've just been using their default like Nintendo Selects playlist, which is just like a variety of everything. And then once I found out like that Wonder was like added like a few days later, then I was like, oh, where are those tracks at? Then I definitely had to listen to the Piranha Plants marching song, so that was pretty epic to relive that song. And then also, when I saw that Diddy Kong Conquest was finally added, I definitely was listening to that today because that's like one of my all-time favorite soundtracks. I could easily just listen to that for hours. I mean, I've had when it was on like the popular YouTube channels, I had that just playing in the background. I just absolutely love that soundtrack completely. That was a very great ad, and I do know I saw it on one of my Facebook groups I'm a part of. Like, I'm not downloading the app until Donkey Kong Country 2 is added on there. So it's like, oh, let's see, live up to that then. So, I mean, it is kind of unusual that it's tied to NSO, but I think that makes it having NSO that much better because, like I was telling Jakester in the chat, like that's better than having a separate subscription charge. Like, so would you rather pay like another Spotify like charge like every month, like whatever, $5-10 a month, whatever, just to be able to listen to their music? And the answer, I would want that. I'd rather be like, hey, I've already got the games. I should be able to just listen to it basically for free. But I mean, obviously it's not since I pay for NSO, but that's like a yearly cost, and I can still like have the access to the app all year round. So I have no problem with that. So that's pretty epic addition there. Xenoblade, I think I've seen a lot of people asking for that to get ported over, and glad for the fans that are excited to play that one again once it's back out in March. And there, probably will be like Steve and not joining in on playing that on day one. Like Barry's be his game of the year for next year, I'm sure. But yeah, the disconnection thing, I was kind of curious how he was able to even keep it online. I mean, if they keep it plugged into a charger, obviously, because it would suck the battery life out of it. But
And a
then
very stable internet connection. Mine is
exactly,
not that
yeah.
stable.
But yeah, I guess the 3DS would stay on if you don't ever like close the shell. So I guess at least it would stay on as long as it has the battery plugged or the charger plugged in. But I guess kudos to being the last player to be on the Nintendo network for free. Pretty cool that they added some more games to the NSO N64 mature app. And like Barry, I wish they would just have a copy of all the games, so then you don't have to change apps just to change around. That just seems kind of silly. And Pocket Camp, that was kind of an interesting out of left field thing because obviously they've shut down like Dr. Mario World and like Mitomo and other games that they've done on mobile before, but it's great to see that they're actually just packaging it all together as a separate app, and like you're still able to transfer over all your save files and stuff and still continue to play it. There's just not going to really be any new content. So that's really great that they're actually doing it for this particular game, and hopefully that can set a precedent for all their mobile games that shut down in the future. And at least you can still play, not necessarily having to buy more like whatever currency for the microtransactions and all that. And then, yeah, as I stated, the Firewalk shutting down was very unfortunate and really it's horrible to hear. And hopefully, those people can find more gaming jobs and be back on their feet soon.
Nice. Hey, I'm just going to pull this out here in the coming from the chat. I'm getting negativity thrown my way from Jakester. Apparently, he's disappointed in Greg and I both about Xeno X. I have played a considerable amount of Xenoblade X. Don't be throwing any shade my way just because I don't want to buy another copy of it for another system. Like, there's no need to go be buying every different version of this game that comes out. I do that with the Galaga. That's about it. But like I've got 25 different versions of Galaga over the years. But there's no need to go buy it again. So don't stop throwing shade my way. Go play it again. I will. It's the only game that's actually set up on my Wii U right now. Like I have my Wii U connected. It's all set up. It is the only Wii U game that is sitting out with the Wii U right now because that is the intention is to finish playing it. But as I've said earlier, I've done nothing. I barely know anything about what's going on in the gaming world this week. So pretty important that I actually have Xenoblade X. So relish in that. But the Nintendo Music app, it's fun. Funny enough, like we actually talked about this, I think, on our last episode when we had the Alarmo conversation. And I was like, it'd be great is if they had like a speaker that played all the different Nintendo music. And here we go. And Nintendo's like, we got you one better. We'll put it on your smartphone so you can play it with your whatever speaker you want. And I was like, yes, that's what I want. We've been talking about for years. Nintendo's got so much great music. They need to put it out there. And so, yeah, really excited. I've been listening to Breath of the Wild soundtrack. I need to create my own playlist, I think is the big thing, though, because like when I'm listening through like the Breath of the Wild soundtrack, I don't want to listen to every song on there because they've got everything on there, which is great. But some of them are like really short or like really like silly things that I don't want to listen to. But I'm like, I want to listen to the bigger, long, epic songs. And so that's what I'll like eventually be creating some playlist with those. And then the Xenoblade Chronicles X, I think it's great. It was inevitable that it was going to come over to Switch. Love that it happened. It was kind of silly that it was just a shadow drop in the middle of nowhere with the news and everything, but still great that it's coming over. Even though Jakester still gave me a hard time, haven't finished it. No, but there's so many games I haven't finished, and so. And then the 3DS thing, final disconnect. That's just silly. Glad that I've never played Shadow Man, but Turok 2 is one of my favorite games on N64. So I'm excited to kind of boot that back up again at some point. Animal Crossing Pocket Camper, he talked about that a little bit. And he loved the confirmation from Nintendo about Switch Successor doing that. And I've got another breaking news that I forgot to talk about this during what I've been playing, which is not really exactly what I've been playing. But in the middle of McDonald's having a horrible thing with like the Quarter Pounder, apparently, that all originated in Colorado, where I live. So I went and didn't get a Quarter Pounder, but I got a Happy Meal the other day with some nuggets, and apparently Mario Kart is at Happy Meals right now. So I got Peach's. Where is she? There she is. Peach Mario Kart. So maybe I'll go grab some more, 4-piece chicken nugget Happy Meals at McDonald's to round out my Mario Karts, because having all the Mario Kart Hot Wheels is not enough. I have to go get all the McDonald's Happy Meal toy Mario Karts as well on top of that. But yeah, if you didn't know, Mario Kart.
You don't technically have to order the food. Like a number of restaurants will let you just purchase the toy if you don't want to have to eat the food.
That's true.
I understand like the cost is basically about the same as the Happy Meal price, but then again, if you're not really wanting to eat the food, because you're pretty much going to have to be going like just like every day or two, or just to go get if you're trying to collect them all, because that's about how fast they run through.
Yeah. The good news is with this, like you can tell what it is. Like some toys and some collectibles they put out at McDonald's are mysteries. And so if that's the case, then it's really hard to do what you're talking about, Greg. But yeah, these are very clear what they are on the box. It's really easy for the McDonald's employee to go and say, hey, I need these and these set. If you have them, go grab them. I'll pay for them separate. That's a lot more possible with the Mario Kart ones. So that's good. But if you do want to get some food as well, the 4-piece chicken nugget Happy Meal is the cheapest way to go. So, and Mo knows, and the chat is heading over to McDonald's right now. So I'm glad we could help you out there.
And
Nice.
I'm not
Steve,
quite sure, but I don't know if it's like a reprint, because I know they had the McDonald's did the Mario Kart 8 toys before, so I don't know if it's like a pretty much like a reprint of those same toys, or if there's gonna be different ones this time around. So like I know I have like pretty much the majority of the first series that they did. They all came with like little stickers and stuff they could put on them as well too. But I had opened all of them, and they're in my display cabinet that it's no longer behind me for this episode, just because I'm in a different location. But I do know that they had Mario Kart 8 toys in the past, and I wasn't sure if it's just like a reprint, repeat type thing, or if there's actually new ones.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Jakesters want to know what happened with the quarter pounders in Colorado. Apparently a distribution facility in Colorado sent out some bad onions that ended up in a lot of, they mix in the slivered onions into the quarter pounder beef. And so, yeah, a lot of the quarter pounders basically across the country are not across the country, but pretty close to across the country are not safe to eat right now. Some people got sick, and apparently those onions are also sent to other restaurants too, not just McDonald's, but McDonald's was the big one that got affected. Barry, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say I sent you another thing through Discord, some slides from the Nintendo briefing, talking about the if you can click on them to open them. Yeah, about the Switch successor. That's some interesting stuff to see Nintendo talking about Switch 2, and some stats going on.
Nice. So yeah, it looks like they haven't clarified what date yet. It's still 20XX. We don't even know if it's 21 something. It's it could be 2025 or 2029 or 2083. Like, we just know that we're going to get information within this next few months, but it could be released in sometime between now and 2099.
Yeah, at least it surpassed Mega Man, because I thought Mega Man was like 2000 or 200x,
something like that. Yeah,
surpassed that.
So yeah, it's exciting to see them actually talk about this, because they've been hinting around for a while that with the software would be playable on the successor and all these different things. And so to officially hear it confirmed in very clear language, Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to the Nintendo Switch. It is black and white at this point, so no more speculation, no more anything like that at all. Do you guys know anything about these development resources and stuff like that? Nintendo
they're
Cube.
talking about how they're strengthening their internal teams. Like Nintendo Cube these are the development teams, the internal teams, and the ones on the right on the chart are the ones they've acquired since 2021. And we just talked about the acquisition with like Firewalk. Nintendo's talking about strengthening a better way and incorporating in and building themselves stronger and better, and building the resources for the Switch too.
Nice. What were you saying, Greg?
To see Nintendo continue to do that.
I was saying, like, in terms of the software, it does say it is compatible, but it didn't even say like if like the digital stuff is going to be able to transfer over directly too. So
it will. It will. I 100% at this point say the digital and physical will work, because they would have specified. They would have said all physical or all digital at that point if it wasn't for both. They absolutely, by them not saying one or the other, that means both. And this chart I think is really interesting.
Yeah. Comparing the total sales volumes for series titles in Wii U and 3DS versus the Nintendo Switch. And I think it's interesting they put Xenoblade Chronicles up there, Barry. Like
Yeah, they
they're
did.
acknowledging it.
How
Of
high
course,
it
this
went.
is coming from Nintendo corporate, so Nintendo Japan knows how important Xenoblade Chronicles is, but hopefully Nintendo America will continue to see how important this
But
title
you know
is.
what? But Metroid is more loved in the West than it is in Japan, and
Mhm.
Metroid's up there too and
Yep.
doing well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, pretty much all of them are at like what 3 times is what like Kirby is 3 times more sales from Wii U or 3DS to just Nintendo Switch, and everything else is higher than that. So 5 times with Metroid, uh probably close to 5 or 6 times with Xenoblade, 6, 7 times with Pikmin, like considerable higher amount. But that doesn't also completely surprise me compared to Wii U, because the sales of the system are so much higher. But 3DS numbers were pretty high, and Switch is even getting higher than 3DS too. That's pretty impressive.
Well, I mean, the Wii U didn't have a proper Metroid game, but the 3DS had Metroid Samus
Samus
Returns and
Returns.
Metroid, Federation Force was there. And it might also incorporate some DS stuff. And then Pikmin was Pikmin 3 and Hey Pikmin. Xenoblade was Xenoblade 3D and Xenoblade X and Kirby's the most surprising one because that had Triple Deluxe and it had Planet Robobot and Rainbow Curse and. So it's nice to see growth. As long as there's growth, that's what any company wants to see. And if these franchises that we all love, there's growth like that, that means they're going to keep making games, which means we might no longer Metroid drought. There's probably besides Metroid Prime 4, which we know is coming. This graph tells me we're probably going to see 2 and 3 remastered, and we're probably going to see a follow up to Dread. Simply because of that.
Right.
Or at least an entirely new storyline. Like I think because they said Dread was like the conclusion of the main series, like the main storyline of it. But and Prime is obviously its own side storyline that is associated with it. But
Mhm.
one thing I didn't see on those like official slides that I had heard on Kit and Krista's thing, like video they posted today, was I guess the 1,000-Year-Old Door remake surpassed the GameCube's original sales. So I thought that was very, very interesting, and obviously a very good sign for Paper Mario in general, because it's like this one like the remaster actually outsold the original version of the game. I mean, I know the GameCube wasn't exactly a huge success like the Wii was either, more along the lines of the Wii U, but better. But it's still pretty good to see that fans were really supportive of the remaster, and hopefully that it could help Paper Mario kind of return to that prime that it had like in the first few games.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it it really makes a difference when you have nearly 150 million of of a console that's sold around the world. Like, yeah, you're probably gonna sell a lot of software as well. So good for you, Nintendo. And it'd be interesting to again to see, as we've talked about before, where they're going with all this, like what it's actually going to be in the end. Is it going to be, just an enhanced version of what we have now? Are they going to go in a new direction? I think it's interesting too. Like, we get hung up on all these numbers, these sales numbers, and all that sort of thing too. And Nintendo is excited about it, but they don't necessarily tend to build on stuff. Like, they're just like, you know what, that was cool, we're going to go in this direction now. And so they may not continue to build, and we'll see what this next one is. But hopefully it continues to go at least in some sort of similar direction for us to continue, benefiting from it. And we don't have like a Wii U 2 next cycle, because it has been in the ups and downs over the last several times. So maybe like Greg said, Alarmo will take that dip, and then we go back up again. Alarmo was our not so good console. They had to slide that in there just to get it. So let's move on to our main discussion, or let's say another main discussion, because we slipped in the Switch Successor, which was not in our plans, because Nintendo just kind of dropped stuff, thankfully during our podcast and not right after, because that tends to happen a lot. But Eastasiasoft had their recent fall winter 2024 showcase, and showed off several games, 19 as a matter of fact. We've got the on the video version, we've got the whole list there that Eastasiasoft put together and has on their website, as well as there's the video version that's still out there if you want to watch the entire showcase. I'm going to highlight just a handful. We'll go through and talk about these, what kind of stood out to you guys in the showcase, and then we'll keep moving on to our next one. So we got several, pretty much almost all of the games, except for like a couple, were announced for Nintendo Switch. So really just, I think there's just 2 that were definitely not, and 1 that we're not really sure because it just says consoles for now. So we got Tokyo Clan Pool. That's going to be dropping in December of 2024. And then Montezuma's Revenge, the 40th Montezuma's Revenge, the 40th anniversary edition is coming soon. So at some point in the future. Zanwan Sword, the Gate of Firmament, is PS5 only as of right now. That's coming out in December 2024. And then Owl Project will be dropping on November 6th. Let's just go with those 4 right now. Barry, anything stand out? I'm sure Zanwan Sword is one of your big ones.
I've become a very good fan of the Zwanyan Sword series. Lots of fun, and I know this was a PS4 game that's now getting the PS5 treatment. However, Eastasiasoft also did Zwanyan Sword 7, which launched first for PS5 or PS4, I think, and Xbox, and then later went to Switch this year. It went to Switch. In fact, I reviewed it. There's a video up on our YouTube. So that tells me that they're probably going to either get this on the Switch or the Switch successor. So it wouldn't surprise me. Great action RPG series. So I am very excited for that. The other one that I'm really excited for is Montezuma's Revenge, the 40th anniversary edition. I did put in for a review code when it's done, so hopefully I get that. I know people call it the ugliest looking game. The remake does not look the prettiest. I get that, but Montezuma's Revenge is one of the first games I ever played on the Atari 400 as a kid, and it was so engrossing and so much fun, and what an adventure it was. So to see it come back, like, I don't care if it's ugly, I have to play it because that is legit my childhood. That's one of the first ever platformers and one of the first ever games with like real like depth, meat to it, adventure, as opposed to like a standard like arcade, like Donkey Kong or Pac-Man, like more of an arcade game. So I'm really excited to see that one for sure. Tokyo Clan Pool looks interesting, and same with Owl Project. I'm gonna hold off and see what about those. Owl Project, that's the one. It's almost like Captain Toad in a sense with like a 3D rotating thing. So I might give that one a shot. Who knows?
Nice. How about you, Greg?
The main one that had stood out to me was the Montezuma's Revenge. Unlike Barry, I didn't play the actual original one, but that's usually my kind of style of game, like those like platformer adventure style games. I really enjoy those kinds, and what I saw looked like it was be pretty fun. So that was one of the ones higher on my list for the showcase.
Nice.
At least that one, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool to see that game come back. I still can't remember if I played it. It's buried somewhere in my back of my head if I played the original game or not. I probably did because I played a lot of Atari games on my cousin's Atari back in the day. So there's a good chance that either I played it or I watched him play, because that's typically what happened. Was he would play the games and wouldn't let me even touch the controller except for like 5 minutes, and then he'd take it back again. So that's probably what it ended up happening. That's what I remember with Pitfall all the time. He'd play and I'd watch. I think Owl Project looks interesting as well, being a fairly cheap game for $5. So that might be something I'll look into as well. And then moving on, we got Slam and Roll, which is a Switch exclusive, or at least is it a Switch exclusive, or is it just for like this announcement was just announced for Switch?
We announced it just for Switch.
That's dropping on November 14th. And then Spalagus, I think is how you pronounce it. It's going to be dropping on November 20th. Pretty Girls Pop Match is on November 28th, and 3D Don't Die Mr. Robot that's coming soon is all they were saying. So Slam and Roll, Spalagus, Pretty Girls Pop Match, and 3D Don't Die Mr. Robot. Barry, I know you watch these Eastasiasoft showcases with me in mind, and they had a couple in there that I was, and then, but like you said, they didn't actually go fully into what they have in the past. So even the Pretty Girls game was not something that I was like, oh, come on. No, but anything stand out to you?
Yeah, Slam and Roll. I'm a big Bubble Bobble fan. I loved Bubble Bobble back in the day, and it's similar to Bubble Bobble. Just kicking sports like soccer players doing Bubble Bobble instead. So I think that's a neat idea, and probably want to check that out. And 3D Don't Die Mr. Robot definitely looks interesting, because I didn't play the original, but it's a unique perspective. And the only thing that bothers me is the name. I feel like they should have called it "Don't Die, Mr. Robot 3D."
Yeah.
But it looks like it could be fun. I'll have to see.
Yeah. Greg, how about you?
Well, real quick, they probably went to the Nintendo school of naming things for that, because
Oh.
it's like, oh, new like Super Mario Brothers. No,
Good
we
point.
don't need to dive into that. Pretty much just Slam and Roll was the main one that stood out in this section. I didn't really get a Bubble Bobble take, but it definitely did feel like it was kind of interesting the way you're like using like round things, like kind of clear pathways and stuff. And you don't necessarily just always are jumping on top of them, but I don't know. I didn't really get a Bubble Bobble feel, even though I absolutely love that series. But that was like at least the main one that stood out to me, because of the kind of action adventure kind of style with like trying to use like the different sport balls to complete puzzles and stuff. I usually like those kind of games with those.
Nice. I'm with you about the Mr. Robot game. Like, what is that naming convention? But maybe that Don't Die Mr. Robot 3D was already released by someone else, and so they just changed it. I don't know. But man, Spalagus looks good. It looks like a game I would enjoy. It's top down survival shooter, and then they had to make it a roguelike. And so I was like, nope, not gonna happen. And then we've got a handful of a lot of games, really. The rest of them, I believe, are all coming soon. So I'm not going to announce any sort of release dates, because they gave no dates, but just all these games are coming soon. So we got Agent Fall, Akatsuki, Lord of the Dawn, Atomic Owl, and Fae Falling. We'll stick with those four. So Agent Fall, Akatsuki. I said that really good the first time, and then not the second time. Akatsuki, Lord of the Dawn, Atomic Owl, and Fae Falling. So anything stand out there, Barry?
I mean, I'm partial. I gotta say Atomic Owl. I mean, I know the developer. I've worked with the developer. We're doing the physical. I worked with the Kickstarter. The game looks incredible. There's a demo on Steam right now, and I highly recommend people check it out. So yeah, I'm very excited for Atomic Owl to come out, and look forward to playing it for sure. And also Akatsuki, Lord of the Dawn. I think that looks really interesting too. So I'll have to wait and see when it comes out. But those are the two big ones from this group for me.
Nice. Greg, how about you?
So this section felt like pretty good for this set of games. Like the Agent Fall seems kind of interesting, because it's a lot of like gravity based like falling mechanics. So that was kind of interesting to see how that might play out. Atomic Owl looks pretty fun, because it's like that standard like Metroidvania kind of game, and I love those games. And then even like Fae Falling sounded very interesting, the way you can kind of like adventure around, and it has like different endings and stuff based on how you complete the story. I don't know if I'd go through it fully, but the concepts of that seems very interesting to see how that's going to be handled.
Yeah.
So that was one of the bigger highlights of the overall presentation, was Fae Falling, I think, at least for me.
Cool. Yeah, Atomic Owl looks great. I'm nervous though, Barry, because it's also a roguelike. Like, so what elements of roguelike does it have in there? Like, will this turn me away?
I don't think this one will turn you away. I don't think it's as like crazy as others. There's a good progression system from everything I've talked with Eldar about. And I know that him and the team are working diligently on this game. And Eastasiasoft is actually, they're handling the porting to consoles. Monster Theater, they're doing the Steam version. So I know they're working tirelessly on the game right now. And if you're curious, like I said, there is a Steam demo. You got
It's true.
check it out.
Yeah, it looks good. Looks like something I would enjoy, but I was like a little hesitant, and then we got Gravitators, Maiden Cops, Moving Houses, and Neon Noodles. Those are our next set of 4 games. So only one of those has a price. Gravitators is going to be $9.99, but the rest of them, no price, no exact dates, and even Maiden Cops just says coming to consoles. So assuming that Switch is in there, maybe Switch Successor is going to be included in that. Who knows? But Barry, what do you think it's this set of 4?
Maiden Cops is the highlight for me, and I do believe it is coming to the Switch. That is Pippin Games. They did Wife Quest. Same team behind Wife Quest.
It does
so,
look a little similar there. Yep.
Yeah. So again, it's I'm personally involved with them, or I have been in the past, and I've talked with them. I haven't played it yet, but everything I've seen of it just looks like a lot of fun, like a old fashioned beat 'em up, and they had a lot of humor put into Wife Quest. So I'd like to see what they do with Maiden Cop. So that one's a big one. Gravitators looks like it could be a lot of fun too. I have to wait. Neon Noodles was probably the one thing in this whole presentation that really just definitely didn't interest me. Like all the other ones, even the ones I haven't mentioned, like I would definitely check out. But I watching Neon News, I feel bad because it could be someone's like, that's my perfect type of game, but it didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, not about the dark dystopian cyberpunk stuff.
Oh, I like that. It was just the gameplay just didn't draw me in.
Nice. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, this set of games didn't really get me either. Greg, what'd you think about this set of games?
Yeah, I guess I'm pretty much on board with both of you. I mean, Maiden Cops partially was one of the bigger ones. This group, the Moving Houses one, was definitely very weird. So it's like you're
Yeah,
actually
very
like moving between houses, but then all of a sudden there's like an ultimate dimension kind of thing. Like I'm remotely curious, but it's not really usually my style of game. But I might want to. It has me kind of like that weird, like kind of want to see more. Maybe watch somebody play through it or something, kind of see how that is. But yeah, otherwise this was like a pretty weaker set for the most part, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, the moving houses thing I thought was funny. Like if the first person is what got me, like I'm not a big first person guy,
Mhm.
but I thought it was interesting how you just like do things like carefully and then chuck, you could also just chuck
Yeah,
things
I
into the
thought of
back of
Barry
the van.
like, oh, you're giving the
But
ability to chuck this TV. Let's throw it. Just kind of like lawnmower simulator. Like, let's destroy all my
yeah,
TVs and
exactly. But then it gets like a horror element at the end, which I was not expecting. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. This took a turn. So it's very intriguing. And if it wasn't first person, I probably would give it a shot. But I might watch some gameplay. Who knows? And if they said, hey, please give it a shot even in first person, I might throw some TVs. Who knows?
Then we got actually before we hop into there, Mo knows in the chat said, "Thanks, fellas. Right now, downloading the Atomic Owl demo. So that's awesome. I'm gonna have to hop over there and do the same after this. And then we got the last 3 that were announced was S Prism Destroyer, Starlight Legacy, and Terracotta, which are all coming soon, and no price announced, but. I believe Terracotta has not been announced for the Switch yet, but the S Prism Destroyer and Starlight Legacy has been. So, Barry, what do you think of these 3?
Terracotta was really interesting. Like I'm sure it will go to the Switch or Switch Successor, but it had a really interesting art style. I don't think the game was for me, but I liked
Mm-hmm.
the idea. But Starlight Legacy, hands down. I mean, it was a friggin' 16-bit JRPG, so I'm all about those, and it looked really good. So I'm very excited for that one. That was up there for me, and I hope to get the chance to play it.
Nice. Yeah, I'm the same. It looks cool, but yeah, I probably there's so many older 16-bit RPGs that I haven't played. Maybe I'll get to those before I go to some brand new one that I need to also play. Greg, any of these three stand out to you?
I would definitely start with Legacy because that just gave me like Final Fantasy 3 Super Nintendo vibes, and
For sure.
that's like one of my favorite Final Fantasy games that I've played because I've only played whatever 2 of them, so out of like the 16 of them that are out. But it definitely seems like it's a really great RPG style game that I would really enjoy.
Nice. Yeah, I think Espersum Destroyer looks interesting as well to me. And I think this run and gun anime kind of thing. I'm not a huge anime fan, but just the action kind of stuff does look really cool. And so yeah, I'm intrigued by shooter kind of games, and I think that was the one that stood out to me more. I'm sure Starlight Legacy is gonna be a great game, but yeah, love like run and gun kind of stuff. Just excites me more than RPG kind of stuff, and it looks pretty good. So that was the Eastasiasoft Fall and Winter Showcase for 2024. We're gonna hop into our next main discussion, and Barry, there's something about a premium edition thing recently. Tell us all about that.
Yeah, my life can finally relax a little bit now. We launched the fall direct, which was again another labor of love. It took a little bit to pull through, and we really wanted to get the attention to everybody. We wanted to give everybody updates and announce Series 10. We made a big deal about it in the direct. Switch Series 10. That's incredible that we did 10 series. But starting off, we did some updates. Wife Quest, like what you just mentioned, physical second chances are up right now on the store, premiumeditiongames.com. Super Dungeon Maker is in production, so we actually show some of the proofs here. We got the physical proofs in. The carts have been ordered, but you can see some of the physical proofs on the screen. They came out really, really good. Excited for it. We had to wait for that extra content to be on the cart. Lonesome Village and Enter Chart are in the exact same boat. So we got the physical proofs for those in now, and the carts have all been ordered from Nintendo. And we're waiting for the carts to arrive, and we're also waiting for the physical items, because now that we've approved the proofs, the physical items have to be shipped to our assembly plant and assembled and put together. Series 8 and 9 titles are in the finalizing art phase. Even when we announce a game, we still have to take care of the manual. We work with the developers and the publishers for all the art. We want to make sure that they're happy with the art. So that is a process. So it does take a little bit of time. So stay tuned with that. PlayStation, same thing. PlayStation Series 1 has been in the ordering process right now, and Series 2 is on deck right behind. And there's a lot of games in the oven, a lot of stuff going on, but we want to do right by each game. We want to make sure that they're complete. We want to make sure that everything is good for the developers, because in the end of the day, we just put a pretty bow on it. And so for anyone who has supported, thank you. But like, stuff like Wife Quest, like you can get now if you missed it. And we did a game chat. Greg and I did a game chat on Wife Quest, so you could also check that out. It was also in our Game of the Year awards. I believe Wife Quest was mentioned a couple times for that year. So definitely check that game out. That game is a lot of fun, and that's Pippin Games, the same people who did Maiden Core. But our first Switch Series 10 title which is one we teased last time, and is doing extremely well. And for those that love PlayStation era horror, is Elisa from Casper Crows and Top Hat Games Studio. Um, this is this psychological horror where you're Agent Elisa and you're trapped inside a dollhouse, and it's very reminiscent of the puzzle elements of like Resident Evil, and it's got that PlayStation 1 era style horror, but done as an homage, not done as just for the cheap to get users. It'll be like, oh, I recognize that, therefore I'm going to get it, and it's not. Like, the game is highly rated. So if this is something that you would be like, you like the freaky, looking for the horror stuff, especially Halloween time, um, this is definitely something up your alley. And I'm not a horror guy. Everyone knows I'm not a horror guy. I say it enough. But I couldn't even say like, oh no, to this game. Like, I saw the charm immediately, and I recognized, and I said, yeah, like we got to get this game. And we're really, really happy that we were able to do that and bring Elisa out. So that is up for pre-order right now on premiumeditiongames.com. Digitally, it is also available right now. It's not on sale or anything, but it is also on the Switch. So if this is something you're interested in, buying the physical helps support the developers and the publishers as well. So definitely check that out. The next thing we went ahead, if you want to skip, next thing we touched on was NES. We do NES releases for the original NES, aftermarket NES games, because there's a very, very big audience for this. There's a very big development community behind working on the original NES and within the original NES limitations to create games. So we've done a couple. So right now, our latest one that we got in, which is Oratorio, which is a rhythm shmup, kind of like Res on the NES, which is very impressive. That is in stock right now. Gem and Deal 1 and 2 and Crater Song, which are our previous releases, they're all in the physical production stage right now. And we do have second chance copies also of Orbody's Binder Tale and Bobby 6-7, which are also available. Those are running low. But these are all aftermarket NES games. They play on your NES and they're from very talented developers. But we decided to add one more to the catalog, and this one is called Sunset Land. And this is really, really interesting because it's a Metroidvania. We love Metroidvanias. So this is an NES Metroidvania. It didn't exist on the system beforehand, but it does now. Fun platforming. There's really cool bosses. There's puzzle mechanics, and we played through a bit of the game, via the ROM, and we were just like, "God, this game is so much fun." Rivet Gun Games did a great job. It's one developer. He is just really, really passionate about it, and he came to us and said, "We'd really love to get this game physical. I think you would really like it. You guys love Metroidvanias," and we said, "Yeah, let's give it a shot." We were blown away. Like it's just a genre you don't usually see on the NES. So if you like NES, games like legit NES games, check this one out. This is going up for pre-order later this year. It's not up yet, but it will be up soon. Next thing we did was Kickstarter updates. And talking about Kickstarter, we have a lot of Kickstarter updates, and some that you can actually uh, talk about now. Like you could actually support now. And the first thing we actually touched on was very first Kickstarter we did, which was Sunshine Anthology, or technically it was Sunshine Manor. We did put it up for pre-order last fall. The reason there was a delay is because Camp Sunshine, the first game, had to be ported to the Switch, and it was done in older architecture, older code. And as many of you know, if you've played a Switch game, some games aren't optimized for the Switch, and they do not perform admirably. So we wanted to make sure Camp Sunshine worked on the Switch, and it worked well on the Switch. So we made sure to get it working, and it is released now. It's finally out digitally on the Switch. So both Camp Sunshine and Sunshine Man are on the Switch, which means now we could work on getting the physical done. We couldn't do anything without that ROM. We wanted to make sure both games were put there, but both games they're 16-bit style horror games. Camp Sunshine is set in like a sleepaway camp, and instead of like Freddy Krueger, you got a teddy bear coming after you. And Sunshine Manor is more like a little bit Resident Evil, where you're inside a manor, and other spooky stuff happens. So they're really, really cool games, especially if you love horror style games. So they're on the Switch now digitally, but we will have the physical here soon. The guide is being finalized, and the manual can now be finalized now that we know like the Switch controls and everything. We wanted to make sure everything was good. But then we talked a little bit about Poglings. That was the game from Yojoiko, which is the YouTuber Chad Chronicles. It is pretty much a raising game like the Chow Gardens and Sonic Adventure. And we didn't have anything new to show, but Chad does give updates, so look for that. That was a good Kickstarter for us. That was last year at this point. But then we talked a little bit about Crystalla. And the Crystalla is available on Steam. So you can there's a demo, there's a new demo on Steam, but the game is also in early access on Steam. And they just launched Chapter 2. And they launched some Halloween events too. So because it's in early access, they're adding uh, parts of the game in bits and pieces because they are a small studio. This is their first ever game, and the game just looks incredible. There's a new clan, there's a new area. You would never know that these are like their first ever game because it's very ambitious. This is a Souls-like action RPG. It just has so much to it. And if you like Souls-like games, I implore you to give this a shot. Check it out. Again, you could actually go to their backer kit and you can still get our Kickstarter. We had the PS5 for the Kickstarter, but you could also support them and get other things via their backer kit. And you could also play the game right now in early access, as well as check out the demo for free on Steam. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous game, and love what they were able to do. And if you followed the game during development, you can see just how impressive the game has become. So mad props to the team. They're some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. So it's awesome to see them continue to work on that. Next one we did is a Kickstarter that did exceptionally well, which is God Shard Chronicles. That one we did earlier this year. This is an action RPG a la Secret of Mana, Legend of Zelda, but it's done with people behind Lunar and other RPGs, Grandia, and just some of the new locations they're showing in this presentation they did. You can just see how gorgeous the colors are on this. They've got John Truitt, who did the voice of Galleon from Lunar, is voicing the villain in this, as well as Jennifer Stigel, who did the vocal tracks for Lunar, is doing the music. And when we premiered this, she was actually in the chat with us, which was really, really cool to talk with her. And later on this presentation, to talk about how she's going. They're taking her to Japan um, to meet up with the composers from Lunar, and they're doing an original piece for this game. This game is incredible. So there is a backer kit. You can still get copies for Switch, PS4, and PS5 physical. You could support them in other ways. There will be, I believe, a demo coming soon, but it's not available yet. But it's just a gorgeous action RPG. So if you enjoy those style games, keep your eye on this game. This game is going to be something special. After that, we did a game we already talked about briefly, which is Atomic Owl. You have to. There's a lot of Godchard. You're still in Godchard stuff. There's
Yeah,
a
you got a lot
lot
of
of
stuff in
just
there.
art.
Yep.
Yeah, they gave us a good thing, but Atomic Owl, Eldar gave us a little bit of the update on the demo, so a little bit of gameplay from the demo that Mo knows just downloaded, but you can get this now on Steam again. Game just looks so beautiful. I love what like the colors, the backgrounds, the cyberpunk, kind of setting with this synth, soundtrack. Voice acted, which was really cool to see. And yes, it's roguelike in parts, but it's also not like heavily roguelike. And you can, just I love that background there, that sunset. It pops.
Yeah, it kind of has
So
that
it,
that modern look of like Ori and Bow and things like that, but in a 16-bit kind of version of that, which is really
yeah,
cool.
yeah, they get to the combat a little bit in the demo here, and there's also the hidden version, like you have a hyper mode, the Dark Wing, I think it is, that they barely get into in this showcase, but you can play as him in the demo. And I love the combat. I love what they're able to do with it and the graphics, and it's something you need to play. And I'm glad that we were able to work with them and showcase it. You can obviously support them via the demo, and there's a Patreon that they're doing. They have their own Patreon, so you can support them that way as well. They're a smaller company. There's hub worlds, and stuff like that. There's characters, there's quests, so there's a lot to this game. After that, we go to a game that was actually mentioned in our chat from Jesse Glenn, talking about Soul Quest, which was our latest Kickstarter that, in terms of finishing, Soul Quest just ended. As of this direct, it was still up, but it did end and it did succeed, and even hit a stretch goal. Soul Quest is this action, think Devil May Cry in a 2D, again like 16-bit style, but it's like Nordic mythology and stuff like that. It's just a lot of fun. But again, Soul Quest does have a demo on Steam, so you can also check this one out on Steam. The game, again, like I said, did successfully get a Kickstarter or get through the Kickstarter, Freedom Games, is also working with them, and it is just awesome. It's just great to see another project get fulfilled and finalized.
And Barry dropped out, so unfortunately. But yeah, it's exciting. I believe that Jesse said in the chat that it was like 15,000 in the Kickstarter, so that's really exciting.
And there goes my thing again. It's having fun tonight. But yeah, so definitely check them out. Like I said, there's a demo for Soul Quest, and you can still, I think they're gonna set up some kind of backer kit. So when we have some information, we'll be sharing that out. And the final Kickstarter thing that we shared was a Kickstarter we joined partway through, that ended just before Soul Quest, which is Forge of the Fae from Deadadine. And you can go to forgeofthefae.com. They are going to be setting up uh, ways to back them and support them. They're finalizing backer kit support, but there's also a demo for this on Steam. And Forge of the Fae is just another love letter to 16-bit RPGs. You got some Chrono Trigger in there. You've got some Sea of Stars, which is a more recent game. You just got this again beautiful aesthetics,
Mhm.
beautiful characters, beautiful landscapes. It's just we saw it and we just fell in love with it, and very talented. And fun fact, some of the team that's working on this game is also working on Godchart Chronicles. They are sharing some team members, which I thought was really cool. They are friends. The head developer of each of these are friends, and they're actually going to be meeting up in Japan. And I love that because it's like here's two different teams that we're working with that are they happen to know each other. And again, this succeeded. This hit every single stretch goal that was announced. It did like 14 times its goal or over 14 times its goal, but there will be a way to back it if you missed out on our physical. And again, there's a demo on Steam, so just check this game out if you love RPGs. You owe it to yourself. It's just awesome. But then we got into more Switch Series 10, which is really really fun to do. And the next game we showed off was a game that I fell in love with just because I think it's just crazy, and it's always been a dream of mine to do this, which is own an arcade. I've always wanted to own an arcade. I've loved playing games like SimCity and Sim Tower and Roller Coaster Tycoon, and this is Arcade Tycoon. This allows you to make your own arcade, but it's not just putting things down and just hoping it goes well. You actually can affect each machine. You can raise the price, you can lower the price, you can find what's popular, what's not. You can get food licenses to get food. You could do promotions, you could do sales, you could mess around with virtually everything you want in this arcade. It's way more detailed than I ever thought it would be. And then of course it's also crazy because people can get mad at the game and they can kick it and they can break it and get electrocuted. Aliens can come down and try to take your machines. You get more than just arcades. There's a bunch of different games. There's skee ball and air hockey and a bunch of different stuff you can do, and it really allows you to open up and be creative. There's a sandbox mode as well as like actual story where they say, here's your garage. You got to start off in your garage. You have limited space and limited money, and you got to take a loan out and build up. And then when you get enough money, you can now buy a bigger place and you could rent that out until eventually you get to the biggest place with the most freedom. And I think that's cool because it gives you more than just creating. You can actually do you actually have that story mode where you can build up and use strategy, and it's just one of those games that I fell in love with. My wife fell in love with it. The team fell in love with it. Just a lot to it. And what's cool about this game is when we talked with the developer who's on the screen right now, we said we wanted to do something special, something unique for this game. And there's another trailer that plays shortly after this. And what we did is we said we wanted to celebrate premium edition. We wanted to celebrate the fact that we are on Series 10, and they have went back to the coding and they made exclusive content that is only available in the physical version of this game. So they went back through and I negotiated with a bunch of different developers, and we've got 14 arcade machines that are completely exclusive to the physical version, celebrating many of our releases over the years, as well as some guest machines, including stuff like Godchart Chronicles is there, Super Dungeon Maker, Camp Sunshine. Like, you can get these arcades in there and put them in your arcade and decorate and stuff like that. So we thought that was something really cool to do, and it's, again, that's exclusive, and it's just a way to honor and celebrate all the releases that we've done over the years, and get them a little extra exposure. So if you like creating, and you like tycoon style games, if you ever wanted to own an arcade, this is definitely the cheapest way to do it, and see how you would do, and and get some experience with it. But then we have one final game that's entering Series 10, and we did something a little different this time. We actually had another YouTuber introduce it for us. Metroidvania Guru is a YouTuber, and he wound up doing a video for us on this, and that tells you it's a Metroidvania. And this one's actually based off of a cult film from 2005. And not everybody's heard of this film, but this did have a Kickstarter a couple years ago. I supported it myself, and it features a dystopian landscape, BMX, biking, and that doesn't sound familiar. You might need to go watch the film. The film is a film called Turbo Kid, and it is fantastic cult film, and they got together with the creators of that, the artists from the comics, because this Turbo Kid comics, it is not a very it's a very gory film. It's very bloody, very indie, but it's awesome. This is a Metroidvania. It is fantastic. You use a BMX bike to get around and to fight with, and you will die, and you get back up, and you can get more powerful, and has the full Metroidvania map. It's just a stellar game. Did exceptionally well on the Kickstarter, and it's already released on Steam. It's not on consoles yet, but it's coming. And the Steam version's highly rated, and we're really excited to be working with the developers to bring this out. So if you want to pass this, you can actually get to the trailer part of it, which comes just a little bit later. He showcases quite a bit. And if you've ever thought about what a BMX Metroidvania could be like, it can be, and it exists, and it is so much fun. So, definitely, if you like Metroidvanias, you have to check this out because it is so good. We have been having so much fun playing it internally on the Steam version, and we just like, oh my god, we have to get back to Metroidvanias. We haven't done one in a while, and this is definitely the one that we wanted to do. So, I highly recommend you check it out. These are going up pre-orders soon, but you can do a mega pack on premiumeditiongames.com, which gets everything, so you can get it all in one go. But and unlike other directs, we did not do a teaser this time. We did not use the hype button. We purposely didn't. We wanted to just focus on what we have, focus on what we're doing, and focus on what we're working on, and get everything out to everybody. So instead of focus like, here's another game, we want to say, all right, let's get everything in the backlog out and get it in people's hands, because we understand there have been delays. Unfortunately, with games like Super Dungeon Maker and Sunshine Anthology were games that we were out of our control with the delays, but we wanted to make sure that we get everything to everybody. So check this out. Turbo Kid also gets a deluxe, so it's going to have a hardcover strategy guide for Turbo Kid. So that's kind of cool that you can get that full on guide, the full NES, Nintendo Power style guide. And we also didn't take down Series 9. We understand that there's a lot of games out, finances, so we left Series 9 up for everybody as well. So if you haven't pre-ordered any of the 4 Series 9 titles, you can still do that too. So definitely check those out. But yeah, that's
Nice.
what we announced.
Nice. Thanks, Barry, for running that down for us. Greg, anything stand out to you?
Yeah, holy cow, that was a lot of stuff that Barry went through. I didn't know if he was going to stop talking for a second. Biggest one for me was like the Godshard Chronicles one. That like looked like it was so cool, and I like how they're like implementing in like the feedback that they're doing. Like they mentioned like that in like the interview, and like that action RPG looks like a lot of fun there. Same with like the Forge of the Fae, that also looked pretty good, and then also finally with the bike biker Metrovania one also seems very interesting as well too. So um, all three of those were like the bigger ones, at least for me. I'm sure there's some other ones that I'll be looking at more in depth as more trailers and closer to release and everything. But those were the main ones for me.
That's cool. Yeah, I think Sunset Land looks cool. Like there's been like several NES games that you guys have put out and everything, but Sunset Land's one of the first ones, and I'm like, maybe I'll actually break out my NES and maybe get that one. And then I think the coolest thing that like one of the coolest things you guys have done is the thing with Arcade Tycoon, being able to bring in like games and make the physical edition standalone from the
Yep.
digital. You can't get that unless you get that version, which is really cool, and to pay homage to all these other games as well. And I mean, I played like what was that Arcade Paradise, I think, before,
hmm
which apparently you're supposed to be able to do. And that game's awful. At least the Steam version that I played. And so like I think I would enjoy Arcade Tycoon a whole lot more than I did Arcade Paradise. So yeah, like that those are definitely ones that stood out to me. But really cool. Crystalla is still standing out to me. It reminded me though that I really need to get that demo. So like I need to make a note for myself, download the demo, Steve. You need to play the demo of this game. Because it looks better and better every time I see it.
They're really passionate about their game, and they've been working their butts off. And when a game launches in early access, I mean, they get a lot of feedback. Pretty much when you buy an early access game, you're almost like beta testing the game for them, and you're getting content piecemeal, which is why like Chapter 2 just launched in October last month, and there's a whole bunch of new content. So you're getting it piecemeal till the game is fully done, but you get it early and you get it at a cheaper price. So it's one of those where the team appreciates it, and the reason they're doing that is not to be lazy. It's that they're a smaller studio. They don't have a publisher for digital. They don't have a porting publisher right now. They're literally putting everything they have into making their dreams come true. So every little bit helps. And again, like I said, this is their first game. They're wonderful, wonderful people. Everyone we've worked with has been absolutely wonderful. And so I think that's one of my favorite things about doing the directs is getting to incorporate them, getting them to be on camera, or at least their voice, and being a part of it and talking about the game. So if you do watch the direct, which please do, I worked really hard on it, as did our editor Dan. You get to hear from the developers themselves. They get to showcase their games. They get to talk about the games and what they love about it. And I think it's cool that we get to do that. And probably one of the best things about the job.
Yeah.
So is that Sunset game going to be included on that NES aftermarket set that's coming to Switch? That collection?
No, this is just it's going to be NES only right now. I mean, I'm not saying you'll never go to Switch, but right now it is. A PC as well. It's Switch and or NES and PC. So you can
I
play
mean,
it.
yeah, I forgot about the NES one, but yeah, that looked really cool, and it's interesting that it's a Metroidvania when the NES had its own Castlevania and Metroid on the system, and then that terminology developed much later.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about that, because I mean we had Metroid, but there weren't a lot of Metroidvanias on the system. Like it just wasn't one of those things where they were just obsessing
hmm
over. It was just it wasn't really a genre. I mean, obviously Metroid created it, but it was its own thing, and it's very much in its infancy. So now, with all the knowledge of Metroidvanias that we've had, and to be able to go back to those limitations and create it with that in mind,
hmm
it's really cool. And the developer did a fantastic job.
Yeah. Yeah. Being able to push the NES to like
Oh yeah,
its limits at this point is pretty cool.
yeah. The Oratorio with the 3D, we actually had to use a specific board to make it work, because it wouldn't work on standard boards, and was like, you need to print these on a special board to make it work. Creator Song actually uses two controllers. It's like
Oh yeah.
Wiimote. You have to hold the controllers vertically and play that way, and it's like really, really quirky and interesting, and like that's so cool that like no one thought about doing that in that regards on the NES days, and it's like now after all these years going back and just having fun with it, it's awesome to see these developers run free.
That's cool. Well, moving on to last thing, we from Premium Edition to another publishing company, Limited Run, and they've some interesting things have been happening in the Limited Run world. But most interesting was something about CDRs. Greg, shed some light on this because this seems really interesting.
Yeah, so I was in one of my Nintendo like Facebook groups, and then somebody pointed this article out to me, and I thought it would be a very interesting topic for the podcast. But essentially, um, Limited Run has been using like CDRs for their musical component, like for the parts that they include with their box sets. So CDRs are obviously what we used back in the early 2000s when you like kind of burned your own music on to like, one of the discs that you'd buy from whatever like Best Buy or whatever. So like the blank disc and just kind of record on there. So it's kind of an interesting approach that they're using such one like a legacy way to do it, but like two like they're able to like still charge like a premium price for their sets because like that's like pretty much costs next to nothing just to print like a label for the disc, and then also just having the songs just ripped right onto like a CDR using whatever like a one of those drives. So yeah, I guess there's been some stuff going between like the co-founders and stuff, and they pretty much are set to use like the cheapest method possible, and kind of almost encouraging other companies like Premium to kind of follow suit to say, hey, you can save a lot of money if you do it this way. So I know that's kind of controversial because it's like not like how music is really like even printed to physical media these days, but like they're using like that classic method to do so.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm assuming here that this is not like the full quality of the music is probably going to come through
It's
that
not
as well.
music though. It's not music. It's the game.
The games itself.
It's the game itself.
Oh, even
It's not
worse.
music.
Okay, I thought it was, yeah. Okay, so we're talking like the actual, like they're just buying a pack of CDRs at the store or Amazon or wherever, and they're just burning the game just like you would make copies at home if you wanted to go that direction instead. So that's really interesting. Wow.
Yeah, I don't think I dove super deep to see it was also the games, but obviously that's more for whatever PlayStation because you can't really use a CDR on a Nintendo Switch or whatever. So
Sure.
3DO in this case.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really interesting, and yeah, like I know there's been a lot of controversy around Limited Run for a while for a lot of different practices that they're going about and everything, and this just seems really interesting. I know, sure, you have a way to you try to save money as a company and all that sort of thing, but this just seems shady. Like I don't know how I feel about it other than it just seems shady. Like I don't know what you think of, Greg.
yeah, I would completely agree. If it's like a full on game, it's almost like you're like doing like the hack for like the PlayStation 2. Like I know like a few friends that would like burn like their own games on like a disc, and then the PlayStation 2 happily played them just fine.
Yeah.
And like that's that really shady route to do it, where it's like obviously it's very cost effective because you could still like upcharge whatever $60-$70 for these sets, and it's basically like built at home with like a whatever like a 10-cent disc with like whatever the paper to make like a label for it, and like then you're really banking on getting all that extra money on very cheap materials, especially if it's for the full game. And obviously can't do that with Switch as we said, but like it's that would
Yeah.
definitely rub me the wrong way for wanting to even support like that, because it's like why would I want to like give them a huge premium price when it, like their materials and stuff could cost whatever less than $10.
Right. Right. And they're selling, some of these games for like $65, and like for it's basically, it seems like the equivalent of me sitting in my basement, just burning disc and then selling them for $65. Like, granted, they have the rights to, sell the game, I guess, which I wouldn't. But that's the only thing that separates me from them at that point, is they have the rights and I'd just be making bootleg copies of it. But it feels like a bootleg copy, like, even though they have the rights. So
Yeah, and then even if it was like relatable to Switch, it'd be almost like Barry having like a Switch cartridge printer in his basement and be like, haha, I can print my own Switch games. Like, that's obviously very illegal, and that's why you have to like submit like all the things through like the lot check with the Nintendo and all that kind of stuff to get that officially processed. But it's essentially that kind of system that you're just like doing it like your own basement and build your own and being able to fully do that. And I know like Nintendo is usually is very heavily anti that, because obviously I know there was like those like tangent games on the NES that were not like officially like Nintendo releases, and then obviously there was like all the controversy with like the Game Boy Advance and DS having like those flash cards and stuff, and then the 3DS kind of finally put a stop to that.
Yeah, it's an interesting predicament, because like at some level you go, it just seems weird and shady, but at the same time you're like, well, technically I guess it's legal. I don't think they're breaking any laws or anything like that. It just seems weird. And on top of all these other things that have come before it with limited run, it's just like it's a weird place they put themselves in, I guess. Is all I'd say. And I don't even know if they're wrong necessarily. If I could come across that strongly to say that, it just seems shady and it seems weird. And I wish there was another way that they would be going about that, and instead. Barry, I know you're in a weird place here, because this is technically a competitor here and all those things with Premium Edition and everything. Are you able to say anything, share some opinions, or do you want to kind of keep to yourself on this one?
Because of conflict of interest, I can't say anything. All I can say is like just talk about the facts and what has come out, and that's I can't say either way anything else.
Fair enough.
Just here to correct in case you know exactly what system and stuff.
Yep.
It's for and all that.
Yeah. Jakester saying in the chat, it's immoral is the word you're looking for. Yeah, I just feel like it's like along those lines. It's not necessarily, it doesn't seem illegal, at least from my very amateur position. But it just seems weird, shady, and maybe a little immoral. Greg, any final thoughts on this one?
I guess you also never really know how deep the rabbit hole goes. I would certainly hope they wouldn't be printing other people's games like with their own printing methods and stuff. So I really hope that they're not infringing on anything like that, because that could easily land the company in a lot more trouble if that's the case. But thankfully that at least wasn't part of this article, but I'm really hoping that they're not that stupid to be diving down that kind of hole.
Yeah. I think Jesse must be delayed because he's talking about Switch 2 confirmed backwards compatible. It isn't a relief. Is a relief. So he must be catching the earlier part of the the episode at this point. So yeah, I think it's really, really interesting, and yeah, I hope this doesn't mean more stuff is going on. But at this point, I mean, like, limited run is building a very interesting track record. We'll just say that that is making people like, I mean, I'm not a huge limited run like fan. I haven't bought any of their games that they publish or anything like that, but it just makes me a little more hesitant to ever go that direction if they just keep kind of making decisions like this that are just, I don't know, it just leaves me feeling meh about it.
Yeah, I would fully agree. Like, I haven't purchased any limited run games, and stuff like this is definitely encouraging me like not to support that kind of practice.
Yeah. Let's move into our last segment about what games are coming up over the next couple of weeks. Our next episode would be live on November 19th, 2024. But until then, we've got several games that are coming out. We're going to be, as usual, scrolling those on the screen here on our video version. But you can also check out the whole list on Metacritic, compliments of them. A few games that we want to highlight as we, before we jump into what we will be playing. We've got Mario and Luigi Brothership that's going to be coming out soon, along with Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, Atari 50, the First Console Wars, Atari 50, the Anniversary Celebration Expanded Edition, Tetris Forever, Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, Beyblade X1, Lego Horizon Adventures, and My Sims Cozy Bundle, as well as the version of Stray that's going to be hopping over to the Nintendo Switch as well. All coming out over the next couple weeks. But Barry, what are you going to be playing? Any of these games or others that maybe I didn't mention?
The next big one I'm doing is Mario and Luigi Brothership, and I'm also excited for Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. Those are the two big ones, and despite everything I've done, I still have a nice backlog of other stuff to do, and I've still got like Romancing Saga 2 and Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero and Dragon Age the Veilguard and Sonic's version or part of Sonic Generations. Like it's just absolute crazy this time of year. There's so much else going on, but I'll be busy, that's for sure. And on top of game chat games, I've just been playing some Vampire Survivors, for our future game chat, getting ready for it and trying to knock out some of those. Probably do some more dungeons for and stuff just to be ready for our game chat, so I can play those without being like, I'm playing this, but I would rather be playing another game. Like I want to make give the fair, objective opinions on these games.
For sure. Yeah. Greg, how about you?
It's me mostly like the same games that I'm looking forward to as Barry. It's like the Brothership is a huge Mario and Luigi fan. I played all the games in the series. I didn't dive into the remakes on the 3DS as the Switch was already out at that point. But I'm definitely looking forward to the latest entry, the Dragon Quest game for sure. I did like the replay of like the remake that was released like some time ago, like earlier this year though. So I'm definitely excited to see what they do there with like the actual full-on Switch release with like the fully remastered and everything. Those are at least the two biggest ones, and then I know Stray I was very interested to see how to do, but I don't know if I'll be playing any three of these games. I'll probably be hitting more backlog style games because I still got lots of the game chat games to still catch up on, along with hopefully trying to get some more time into Echoes of Wisdom because I haven't played that I think for a little over a month now.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like there's several games that we'll do for game chats. I really want to finish Echoes of Wisdom. Definitely want to get the new Life is Strange game as well. Looking over the list, I mean, I'm not a huge Mario and Luigi fan, so I'm going to be stay away from that. I know it's been interesting seeing some of the reviews, earlier reviews that have been coming out. That isn't influencing me whatsoever because I was already planning on not going that direction because I've not played any of them. But I love the fact that the Atari 50 games are expanding. Like it's just a huge museum of those games. So excited about the DLC for those games. Tetris Forever, same thing. Like it's going to be like this museum of Tetris games. Excited about that one for sure. And I'm there with you, Greg, about Stray. I may end up getting it. There's a chance we may end up getting some review codes or copies of that. Hopefully that pans out, that we can get a chance to check it out. But I don't know. It doesn't look great on Switch. I love the fact that it's coming over to Switch, but it looks so much better on Xbox and PlayStation than the trailers that I've seen on Switch. So I'm hesitant about it. I hope it's still a great game, but it doesn't look nearly as good as it does. So, but maybe the Switch Successor will enhance it, or they'll have another version that comes out that's closer to the Xbox and PlayStation version. Who knows? But it's as far as like my gaming, hopefully I actually get some more gaming time over the next couple of weeks. I am still in my national travels. I won't say worldwide travels because I'm staying within the country. But I'll be traveling a lot. Heading out this Thursday, heading over to Georgia, and then heading over to California almost right after that. And so I'll be spending lots of time in airports and hotels and Airbnbs and things like that. So there's a chance that I'm maybe able to get a little more gaming in over the next few weeks, which would be great. But I'll be playing a lot more in handheld. So sometimes that's good because there's some games that I'm like, they really fit the handheld, version of playing. But then there's other games like, I don't know, like there's several that I want to play that I'm like, I want to play that on my TV. So that might have to wait. But I think Echoes of Wisdom is it's a really good handheld game. Like I've really enjoyed playing it handheld. So hopefully I'll get more into that. Tetris Forever is going to be one of those games that you could easily play handheld and really enjoy it. So yeah, that's really exciting that I'll have some good handheld games that I can play as well. Barry, what's going on in your world over the next couple weeks?
Well, had an interesting situation on Halloween. I took the little one out. We did trick or treating and all that stuff. We came home and looking through his Halloween candy because he's too young to eat his Halloween candy, and I found a package of these Mott's fruit snacks, like Mott's, like the applesauce Mott. Never heard of them. I'm like, oh, cool. Put one in my mouth. The thing is like tar. It rips out one of my caps that I had a root canal on, and when trying to bite down, apparently I actually broke the root of the tooth, and now I have to have it extracted next week. I'm like, oh my god! Like now I have to get an implant because of this stupid pack of fruit snacks that I had to bite once. I bit once. That's all it took. And
Oh my
I'm like,
gosh!
I just found this out
Wow.
today too. When I did like dental cleaning, and I'm like, are you serious? I have to have an implant now? It was stupid thing of Mott's fruit snacks. So I am overly
Do you
pissed.
know whose house it came from?
No, but I'm actually tempted to write to them and be like,
Right.
like you're putting me through pain. Like this was bad. Like there should be a warning. Like this is not consumable by any human being. So I advise that stay away. So yeah, that's a fun thing I'm dealing with. Uh,
Oh, man.
so on top of everything else. But yeah, that's the big thing. Obviously, other than I've having my son and watching grow and playing with him, and he's definitely in the toddler stage now, which means everything is his and everything is a toy, even if it's not, and he's gonna push every button because he does. But he's still great and wonderful, and he keep me on my toes, that's for sure. But I love it. But it's gonna be fun trying to chase him with an ice pack. Going, come back here. But yeah,
He's gonna have to
so
take care
that's
of
the
you
fun.
instead.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, he'll just hand me random stuff. He's actually in this. He's developed. So our kid is like the most unusual son or a child like I could think of. Like he's 16 months and he uses a coaster. Like he's like perfect in that regards. But he's gotten to the point when he now knows how to put things away. Like a lot of kids don't put their toys away. He puts his toys away. The problem is that his toy that he puts away is the recycling bin. So he'll take his toys and crawl over to the recycling bin and deposit, and crawl over, find another toy, crawl back over, deposit. So now we have to check every time we look at the recycling bin at night, and he's doing it with other things. Any compartment, he's like, "Ooh, deposit," which is great that he's cleaning up. It just it's not the way we needed to, but he's 16 months. We're just happy that he's doing something. But yeah, it's just funny watching the little things that happen,
Yeah.
as they grow, and I'm sure Greg can relate. It's a wonderful feeling, and it's just so awesome, and it's better than any game, that's for sure.
That's fun.
I'm surprised you haven't take the recycling bin out to the curb then.
Oh no, that's coming. We're gonna at least a year and a half. He's out doing it.
Nice. Yeah. Put him to work. As soon as
Oh
you're
yeah, he's
walking,
gonna
you're
work.
taking the garbage out.
Earn your
He's
keep.
gonna be going to work.
Greg, what's going on other than getting new floors in your house? Anything else going
Yeah,
on in your world?
so I definitely have a different background this time around. That's because my office is going to be getting a new floor, and this Thursday, I did finish like painting the office like over this last weekend. So I'm just having that all prepped and ready to go. So I should be back in my normal space on the next podcast. But then yeah, we're doing the whole upstairs with 2 floors as well, and lots of other things will be going around in the house. And then unfortunately, I actually will be not able to make the next show because my daughter's concert's that evening. So a little spoiler alert that I'll be short on the next one, but I'll at least get to see her concert at her school that they're working for. I think it's like a Mary Poppins Returns kind of theme where they do some of the songs from that movie or whatever. So
Nice.
really excited to see how they do and be cheering her on from the audience.
Nice. So instead of next episode as normal, we're going to be live streaming Greg's daughter's concert. No, you should just join us from your phone.
Live from the gymnasium.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Like, will you guys be quiet? I got to talk video games for a second.
Go up there, knock the conductor over. Like, hold
right.
on, put this on pause.
Priorities, man. Come on. Nice. No, that'd be fun. Yeah, great. Barry and I will miss you as well as our community, but yeah, that's fun. Got to go to that for sure. It's interesting. I was planning on missing like 2 or 3 in a row, but then things changed, and here I am. So that may be in the future at some point. We'll cross that bridge if we come to it. But I thought I was going to miss, but not so much. Oh, well, it's been great to talk video games as usual. Thank you guys for joining us in the chat as always as well. Jakester, by the way, before he signed off, said going to be finishing Zelda Echoes of Wisdom and then working on Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher and looking forward to Dragon Quest 3R. I think is the 2D 3D remake or whatever thing that has that long title that I always mess up. But also going to get Tetris Forever. Yeah, excited about that one as well. Let us know what you guys are going to be playing, what you're interested in, any of the news that we have been talking about. If you're watching the video version on YouTube, just throw those thoughts down in the comments after the fact. We love reading those and interacting with you guys in the comments as well as the live chat. So if you never join us live in the chat, we go live every other Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. We'd love to have you jump in there on both YouTube and Twitch is where we stream, and you can jump in there. But the archive video version is available on our YouTube channel, as well as our game chat videos, our reviews, our industry talk and reviews, and gameplay videos, a lot of stuff over there at YouTube. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't done that yet. Or if you listen to the audio version, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app, wherever you're streaming this. Be sure to hit that button. And we don't ask this a whole lot, but if your podcast app has the option for you to leave a positive review, we encourage you to do that because that helps other people to find the podcast. It kind of pushes it up in algorithms and things like that. So if you enjoy this sort of thing, be sure to share it with other people, but also be sure to leave us a positive review. That'd be really awesome. We do this for the sake of just us getting together and talking video games and love interacting with you guys. So we don't charge for this, but if you would like to pay us back, if you will, leave us a positive review. That'd be awesome. So yeah, next episode's going to be recording live on November 19th, 2024, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'd love to see you there. But until then, happy gaming, everybody.
Have a good one.
See you next time.